Hi, everyone. We are back, and I am so pleased to welcome our first keynote, LisaAnne Harmon. Hi, Lisa.
Hello. So excited to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
You're welcome. I'm just going to give you a little bit of information about LisaAnne. LisaAnne Harmon has achieved remarkable accolades throughout her career. With a bachelor's degree in nursing from the Ohio State University, and a master's degree in nursing from the University of Cincinnati. She was on the way to completing her doctorate to teach at the university level and was blessed with the birth of her first child. She experienced numerous obstacles as a working mother and chose to begin her entrepreneurial journey. Her leadership skills led her team to secure the prestigious #1 position in Pennsylvania for many years, consistently ranking among the top teams nationwide in Mary Kay Cosmetics. And how many years have you driven in?
29.
Yeah. I said over 25. I didn't know. I said it this morning. I just didn't know how long. Her exceptional abilities have resulted in leading her team to sell over $1 million in product yearly, showcasing her remarkable talent in the business world. Additionally, she's an author and has been invited to speak in both small and large groups, including audiences of up to 10,000 people at her company's conferences. And I've been there. Recognized for her unwavering dedication to serving others, she's earned the highest honor in her company, the annual Miss Go Give Award. This esteemed accolade is bestowed upon individuals nominated by their peers for their profound love and service towards others. The award is based on the golden rule: do unto others as you would have done unto you. Beyond her professional endeavors, she devotes her time as a volunteer educator at a local homeless shelter, positively impacting the lives of those in need. She's happily married to Bill and a proud mother of 2 adult daughters. LisaAnne wanted more out of her life and is passionate about empowering women to have more flexibility and control in their lives. Her remarkable journey and countless achievements serve as an inspiration to all, exemplifying the power of determination, compassion, and a drive for success. Thank you, LisaAnne, for being here.
Thank you, Lisa. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you. This is an honor. And I always love speaking and empowering women. So, when I began my Mary Kay business 32 years ago, I had no understanding between the difference between 3 topics, which is what we're going to talk about today: self-confidence, self-esteem, and self-worth. My self-esteem was tied up into being a nurse practitioner. My self-confidence, of course, when I started my business was very low. I had no skills. So very early in my journey, I missed an important goal and I wanted to be at a certain level by a retreat and I didn't get there. I belittled myself and I questioned the value that I had as a person. I snowballed this into, I can't do this. I'll never get there. What was I thinking? Right. Have you ever been there? Well, I also had some deep-seated beliefs about my physical health that had come from an unthinking gym teacher who had called me sickly, and that my asthma and health problems were all in my head. So while I had a lot of energy and drive and willingness to work, I had a lot of work to do to understand who I was as a human being and understanding that my confidence was very different than my self-esteem. I had confused the two and had begun attaching my esteem to my accomplishments. I had no understanding of what self-worth was. That concept came over time. So you are amazing business professionals. If you are watching this conference, my goal today is not just to help you understand the difference between the 3, and they are different, but to recognize where you are with each of these things and see strategies to help you grow so that you have a high self-confidence, a high self-esteem, and a high self-worth. All 3 of them, of course, lead to an emotionally healthy and fulfilling life. So we're going to start with the concept of self-confidence. So self-confidence is the belief in our abilities. It's external. It's situation specific. So you have confidence as a cook in the kitchen, or you don't. You have confidence creating a budget or a business plan, or you don't. You have confidence as a runner, or you don't. So I'm going to talk about the characteristics of low self-confidence, high self-confidence, and then how we grow that. So low self-confidence really refers to that lack of belief in our own abilities. You doubt your capacity. You feel insecure. You're afraid to assert yourself. I want you to write this down. Self-confidence is based on skill. So prior to Mary Kay, I was a nurse. I got my master's. Then I became a pediatric nurse practitioner. And I remember very clearly the first prescription I ever wrote independently, my confidence was so low. I double and triple checked myself before I actually wrote it and handed it to the patient's parent. When I began my Mary Kay business, my confidence was really low. I had no skills in selling or recruiting or running a business. More recently, when I went back to the gym 2 years ago, my self-confidence was really low. I was afraid I wouldn't be able to keep up, that I would get injured. And I've also been volunteering for 2 years. The very first time I spoke at our local homeless shelter for the residents, I was afraid I wouldn't be able to connect with these precious men and women. So low self-confidence. So what does high self-confidence look like? Well, it's having an assuredness. It's like, you know, you have the capacity to achieve what you've set out to. It's a willingness to take risks. You're willing to stretch your comfort zone. And we're going to talk about comfort zone a little bit because I think people have a misconception of what that really means and looks like. Number 3, you have effective communication. You're able to express your thoughts and ideas clearly so that other people understand you. That's a sign of confidence. Resilient, confident women bounce back from setbacks. Goal-oriented. You're able to set goals, have ambitious goals because you believe in your abilities. Positive body language. Positive or negative body language, positive body language, right? You have good posture, eye contact, self-advocacy. This is so important. This is really important in my entire journey of my life with my health. And of course, adaptability. These are all things that are indicating that you have a high self-confidence. So how do you grow it? So remember, confidence is based on skill. So I mentor about 250 women in my Mary Kay business. And so one of the first things I'm going to encourage you is to set achievable goals. I watch women set unrealistic goals all the time. They don't hit the goals. Then they feel defeated and it is devastating to their confidence. When you set a little goal and you have a win, then you have a little win boost of your confidence. The second is positive self-talk. I ran into the cutest thing the other day. It's done by Snoop Dogg of all people, and it's a children's affirmation video. You can find it on YouTube. You guys, it's really powerful if you have little people in your life. The third thing is you're willing to face your fears. So I want to talk about this comfort zone. So I want you to draw on a page, a box, and put a stick figure inside. You're the stick figure inside the box. So your subconscious is super happy when you're inside this box. What happens when people step out of your comfort zone? Picture your little stick figure on the outside of the box. Well, guess what your subconscious mind wants you to do? It's pulling you right back in, right? You can't go outside your comfort zone without the chance of going right back in. Instead, learn to stretch your comfort zone little by little by little. So you're still within your comfort zone, but what you're doing more of it. You're believing bigger. So stretch your comfort zone versus stepping out of your comfort zone. Okay, learn new skills. So my mom turns 90 in 2 days. And I needed a banner, and I have this fabulous creative person. I say, create a banner, upload it to Office Max. I'll pick it up at this day. Well, she wasn't available. I learned how to do it myself. Now, this may sound really silly to you, very creative people, but I felt so empowered because I learned a new skill. Not great at it, but I learned a new skill. So in my life, I learned to write prescriptions over and over. I double and triple checked them, and my confidence grew. I've held many Mary Kay appointments, and my confidence grew. I regularly go to the gym now 3 times a week. I have confidence in my ability to get stronger and not get injured. I speak twice a month to the residents at the city mission, the homeless shelter where I volunteer, and I have confidence each time I go there. So you can have high self-confidence. So as an example, you could be a nurse or a teacher and have high self-confidence, but you could have a low confidence in a new part of your career. You could have high confidence in the daily practice of your career, but low confidence in new technology, right? Confidence is situational based upon what you're doing. You could have high confidence in caring for your family's needs until there's a crisis like cancer or a wound to care for, or emotional health problem. Your confidence might be low in that. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to write down 3 skills that you are confident in. Just real quick, write them down. What 3 things do you know you are good at? Just jot them down real quick. Take a minute and write down 2 skills that you want to possess. What are 2 things you want to possess? I want to get better at Canva. It's a skill, right? It's a skill like everything else. And then I want you to write down 1 skill you are not confident in. 1 skill. Now, most women can write down 10, but I only want you to write 1. You guys, self-confidence is presented externally. We have to cherish and relish where we know that we are good and create plans where we know that we want to grow. Mary Kay Ash was one of the wisest women that ever walked the earth. And she said, if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you're right. Many people limit themselves to what they think they can do. We have to focus on learning and growing our strengths, not our weaknesses. There's a story that Mary Kay Ash used to tell all the time. It's about the animal school. You'll get my point as I just give you a couple examples without telling you the whole story. Well, the bunny excelled in hopping class, but he failed in swimming. So the bunny had to spend all his time learning to swim. The fish got an A in swimming, but failed in climbing. So he was put in advanced classes to learn to climb. The snail did a great job in crawling, but he couldn't sing. So he was put in several choirs. You get the idea, right? We have to grow our strengths, acknowledges our weaknesses. We don't belittle ourselves, but we do need to grow our strengths and focus on those. So self-confidence based on skill. Number 2, self-esteem. So in the literature, oh my gosh, these words are so interchanged and so much of it is so not on the right track. So self-esteem is how you see yourself. It's inside. It's invisible to the outside world. Your self-esteem encompasses your feeling of worthiness. It reflects how much you appreciate and value yourself. Self-esteem is on the inside. It does not come from skills. Self-esteem results in who you are. So as a new director in Mary Kay, I allowed my value as a person to be attached to that I drove a pink Cadillac and how much production my team sold in a year. But we can't attach our self-esteem to our accomplishments. This is a really slippery slope. If you have a good year, you're up. If you have a bad year, you're down, right? Your self-esteem takes a hit. And so our self-esteem cannot be attached to what we do. It's who we are. So let's talk about low self-esteem, and then we'll talk about high self-esteem and how you grow it. So low self-esteem, it's feelings of inadequacy, worthlessness, lots of self-doubt. I mean, these are going to all make sense, right? Low self-esteem comes from a lot of places, past experiences, people that criticize you, societal pressure, and obviously low self-esteem impacts mental health and our overall well-being. So this is a personal story. My gym teacher in high school, her name was Renee Smith, and for decades, I allowed her inaccurate words of who I am and what I was capable of played over and over and over in my mind. In fact, it had snowballed into so many other things. So 2 years ago, when I went back to the gym, the first day we were throwing a med ball, which is like this big heavy ball, high up on the wall and to catch it. I actually turned to my coach and I said, I can't catch a ball. He looked at me like I was crazy, but her words of you're sickly had snowballed to you can't do this. You aren't athletic. You'll get injured. You can't catch a ball, right? We do this as women. I had allowed her unthinking words to get deep into my self-image. So have you ever had any unthinking, unkind words spoken to you or over you? If we allow them to, they can impact our self-esteem. Low self-esteem, we say things like, I'm stupid, or I hate to bother you, or if it's okay, would you mind? Or I keep thinking about what I did wrong, or does that make sense? Those are indicators of low self-esteem. All right, let's talk about high self-esteem. Much more fun topic. Have a positive and confident perception of who you are. These are people that value themselves. They can realistically look at their strengths and their weaknesses, just like the bunny, the snail, and the fish, right? You have to know your strengths. You have resilience when challenging situations arrive. And resilience, in my mind, is not just bouncing back, it's getting better. So you have a situation, and your resilience means that when you come back to the next situation, you're better than you were before. What can you say about yourself? So if you have high self-esteem, you're willing to pursue goals and aspirations. Most likely you have a positive outlook on life. And that, of course, contributes to our mental and physical health. You love yourself and you can receive love from other people. You allow God to love you. You can have, now this is one of those areas that I think we have to acknowledge, is that you can have high self-esteem and low self-confidence. So for instance, an experienced engineer who sees value in who she is as a person could have very low self-confidence starting a new business. Or you could be a really skilled accountant, high self-confidence, but low self-esteem and not value who you are as a person. And of course, the goal is to have both, to have high self-confidence and high self-esteem and valuing who you are as a person. All right, so here's a little exercise that's going to give you a really good idea about where you are with your self-esteem. You ready? Grab a piece of paper or typing. What I want you to do is write down 10 qualities, 10 positive qualities about yourself, who you are as a person. Now, I'm going to give you some examples. Normally in a big audience, I would have people shout them out, which we can't do. So I'm just going to give you some examples, but I only want you to write down what really applies to you. So you're writing down 10 positive qualities about yourself. Okay, you ready? Integrity, honesty, diligence, organized, focused, great with people, creative, learner, friend, compassionate, kind, wise, proactive. Now, you may have words completely different than what I shared, but do you have your list of 10? Please have your list of 10 by the time I'm done speaking. Your ability to write down 10 is a very good indicator of where you are with your own self-esteem. This is not about ego. It is not about pride. It's about seeing your strengths and your assets. All right, now, I know you can do more than this, but I want you to write down 3 things you don't like about yourself. Only 3. Now, I know most women can start writing them off. Only 3. So write down 3 things you don't like about yourself. All right, so I'm just going to give you 3 examples so you can hear how you want to handle the situation. So I might say I get quiet in new social situations. I have arthritis and I have scoliosis, right? So look at your 3 things and you're going to put a smiley face behind the things that you cannot change. I cannot change my scoliosis, so I have to put a smiley face behind it because I can't change it. We have to accept the things that we cannot change. Now, the other 2, arthritis, yeah, there's lots of things I can do, right? Cut out sugar, exercise, water, get enough sleep, medications, all of that. And learning to be more confident in social situations, right? We're back to a skill, right? And I can learn a skill. So remember to only look at small amounts. So let's raise our self-esteem. My mentor, Sue Kirkpatrick, used to say that when you start to say things to yourself that are not helpful, learn to say, cancel, cancel. That thought does not serve me well. If you start to say, I'm stupid, I can't do this, cancel, cancel, that thought does not serve me well. Second, learn to compartmentalize. This is probably one of the skills, the most important skills I have learned in my 32 years of being a business owner. So right now, let me ask you this. Do you have your phone open? Are you checking in with your husband, your babysitter, your kids? Are you scrolling on Instagram or Facebook? Are you checking Google alerts? Are you checking in with the people in the office? Compartmentalization is being 100% mentally and emotionally all in wherever you are. It is the most emotionally mature thing you can do for yourself, and not to mention the people that you are with feel valued. Several years ago when my dad died, it was a long, slow, horrible process. And it was really important for me to be 100% present with my mom and my sister and my grandmother. Here's another thing you can do to raise your self-esteem. Take breaks from social media. I take a Sabbath every Sunday, and I am not on Instagram, or I try not to text, not be on my phone. I'm not on Facebook. So know what you have to say to yourself is really important. And we have to learn to not diminish our own needs. We are emotionally healthier when we acknowledge what we need. So affirmations, affirming the person that you are, I don't do them based on skills anymore. I do them more based on my self-esteem and my self-worth. So let me give you a couple examples. So it might be, I live with integrity, or I react with kindness in all situations. Those could be some affirmations. Mine are actually based on scripture, so I'll share with you a few. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That's from Philippians 4:13. Philippians 4:19. God will supply every need of mine according to his riches and glory by Christ Jesus. Romans 15:13. I'm overflowing with joy and peace because I trust in God, and I will overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. These are things that fuel my soul. It helps me build my self-esteem. Remember, self-esteem is internal. It's how you view yourself. All right, so let's talk about self-worth. This is a newer concept in the literature in the last several years. So it's intrinsic. It's the intrinsic value that you assign to yourself. It reflects your beliefs and how you value yourself as a person. It encompasses your abilities, your qualities, and what you believe, how you contribute to the world. Self-worth is internal, it's self-acceptance, it's respect. It allows you to recognize your own importance, to set boundaries. We're going to talk about boundaries, and pursue the dreams and goals that you have. It's based on core values. It is not impacted by what is going on around you. It's based on your core values. So low self-worth. All right, so take a big breath, because I find this list challenging, but I also find it so important, because I, even as I was writing this, recognized things in myself. So I went through 3 surgeries in 1 year, several years ago. And that year, my relationship suffered, my business suffered, my mental health suffered. I actually got into a depressive state. I had attached my value as a human being on all the wrong things. And I was in a really, really bad place at the end of that year. And honestly, it was that situation that taught me to start to evaluate where I was with my self-esteem and my self-worth. So let's look at, sorry, I got a weird hair on my face. So let's talk about symptoms of low self-worth. One is negative self-talk. You know, that critical inner dialogue that we have going in our heads, focusing on our flaws or our perceived shortcomings. This is a biggie for women. It's that self-deprecating humor and words that actually are indicators of your self-worth. Number 2, self-doubt. It's frequently looking and saying that you are not capable, that you are insecure. I can't, my examples, I can't write those scripts. I'll get injured if I go to the gym. I can't take that on. I will fail. It's that self-doubt. Third is avoiding challenge. So low self-worth can keep you from taking risks and pursuing the things that you really want. This was really, really big for me getting back into the gym. Remember, this was like 30 years of this message, negative messages I had in my head. I really had to work through those messages that I am not a sickly person. Number 4, we talked about this earlier, snowballing. You have a fight with someone at work, and now you're not good at your job, and now you're a terrible parent, and now you think, why could I think I could run this business? And like a snowball, it gets bigger and bigger as you go. Number 5, again, huge for women, people pleasing. Of all these women that I mentor, I deal with this the most. You prioritize everybody else's needs and opinions over your own, and you seek validation to feel worthy from other people. Big one, isn't it? Number 6, difficulty accepting compliments. You know, when we accept praise and compliments, We're dismissive about it. Not only do we dishonor the person who's complimenting you, but really we just never learn to be comfortable saying thank you. Number 7, perfectionism. You have set an excessively high standard for yourself and feel less than perfect. Anything else less than that is unacceptable. And I just want to put a thought in there. There was only one perfect person ever who walked the earth. In fact, he walked on water, and you and I are not him. Number 8, isolation. So this is withdrawing from social situations. It's not feeling worthy of being in the space of people. And honestly, with so many of us working from home, isolation is real. We have to be intentional about being in front of people. Number 9, overly critical of others. This is a big focus with low self-worth. It's that constant judgmental thoughts that you have going in your head all the time. And then 10, of course, is emotional distress. It's the anxiety, it's the sadness, it's the hopelessness, the depression. It's all of those mental health challenges. So, okay, we're done talking about those. I know that's heavy, but it's so important to recognize it in yourself. Even successful women still deal with these things. So let's talk about how high self-esteem manifests itself, and then we'll talk about how you raise it. So 1, you're confident. You have self-assurance in your abilities, your decisions. Positive self-talk. That's number 2. Having a constructive inner dialogue. So one of the things I help women say all the time, I hear women say, I can't do that. And I'll say, instead say, why don't you say to yourself, I'm learning to do that? Or if somebody says, I'm not good at that, instead, why don't you say, I used to struggle with that, but as I move forward, I'm getting better and better, right? We are so conditioned to say negative things about ourselves. You believe that you're worthy, right? Number 3, resilience. You bounce back quickly. You don't let little things hold you back. You have healthy boundaries. This is another thing I deal with women a lot, is having healthy boundaries in your relationships, in your professional life, so that you're protecting your own well-being. If you know that you struggle with boundaries, there's a great book by Henry Cloud, just like in the sky, Cloud, on boundaries in every area of your life. Number 5, self-acceptance. You know, you handle your imperfections. You deal with them. My family calls them LAHA moments, L-A-H, my initials, LAHA moments. These are all the goofy things that I do. You love yourself despite your flaws. I've shown up at places with a blue shoe and a black shoe on. I actually went to church one time. I went to raise my hand to praise, and I had a curler still back in the back of my head. I just took it off, dropped it off, stick it in my purse, and kept on going, right? That's why my family calls them waha moments. I accept that I do goofy things, right? Self-acceptance. Number 6, pursuing goals because you believe you deserve success. Number 7, positive relationships. All right, so we're going to do another little exercise. And I want you to write down the 5 people that you are around the most. Write them down. Just write their first names. 5 people that you are around the most. Don't overthink it. They come to mind. Just write them down. The 5 people that you're around the most. Now, if somebody, every time you're with them, they add value to your life, put a smiley face behind their name. If every time you're in their space and you feel worse about yourself, put a frowny face behind their name. And if you don't know what you're going to get, put a little neutral face behind their name. You guys, we become like the 5 people we are around the most. Broke people know broke people. Mean people know mean people. Positive, encouraging, supportive people know positive, encouraging, supportive people. Be intentional about the relationships you are in. Number 8, you are willing, you have gratitude, you are content in your life, regardless of what's going on with you. And the most important one is you live by a set of core values that are unshakable. So let me give you some examples. I live with integrity in everything that I do, right? That is a core value. For me, personally, my core values are now tied to what God says about me. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. He knew me in my mother's womb before I was born. I'm created in his image. I am loved with an everlasting love. For me, those are what I tie my self-worth, my value to. So how do we grow our self-worth? Well, first of all, you got to know and believe that you have worth as a human being. and that what other people say does not define you, just like I allowed my gym teacher to define me all of those years. So identify your core values. There are lots and lots of core value assessments online. Why not figure out what those? So one of the things that I love is called Strength Finders. There's 32 strengths. When you know your top 5 and you live out your top 5, it improves your self-worth. Believe you're good, you're worthy, you're lovable, regardless of the actions going on around you. Again, set boundaries, set healthy boundaries. I'm very protective of who I allow into my life, into my world, because I know what God's called me to. I know what I'm supposed to do on this world, and I don't want anybody else to move me from that. For me, I'm in God's word every day. Watch your affirmations and your self-talk. So 4 years ago, I started writing out affirmations. I found this really cool app, and for 5 minutes every morning, I read through these affirmations. In fact, I want to tell you that I actually have a whole list of affirmations that are based on scripture that are about your self-esteem and your self-worth. And if that is something, Lisa's going to put up my email address at the end of this. And if you would love to have those, then please email me. I would be happy to send that list to you. So I do actually have a group called Grow You, Grow Your Future. I truly believe that when we focus on our own personal growth and personal development, everything else in your life grows as well. Yes, you can learn skills in your profession, but if you will grow you first, you will grow your future. So I have a Facebook group that she's putting a link in that you are more than welcome to click. There's some questions that we'll ask you. I focus on empowering women, empowering entrepreneurs, empowering leaders to develop not just strong leadership skills, but really understanding who you are. Because I really do believe that when you grow yourself, you will grow your future. We've got to stop looking for validation from other people and other sources. It has to come from who we are and developing that positive mindset. So, in review, self-confidence is external based on skill. Self-esteem is internal based on how you view yourself. Self-worth is based on your core values, not impacted by outside forces. I want to close with a story about 2 women in my life. The first woman, they're both in their 80s. The first one, her identity is entirely wrapped up in being a wife and a mother. She never had a career, never had outside interests, had very few friends. Her husband passed away, and her 2 adult children, while both successful, live in different cities. The second one also lost her husband. Both of her children are successful and live in different cities. What's different, she's always been a musician. And at 90, she's still in 2 choirs, has multiple clubs, social activities, and drives. The first one is lonely and has dementia. The second one is mentally and emotionally healthy. In fact, it's my mom, and she turns 90 on Friday. In fact, I want her to get 90 birthday cards. So email me if you want her address. If you got her birthday card in your house and be willing to send her a card, that would be great. You're going to have highs and lows. You're going to have challenges. You're going to be in social media. You're going to hit goals, miss goals. You're going to have successes and failures. You're going to be around difficult people, have good days, bad days, be healthy, be sick. We can't tie who we are to all of the things going on in our lives. You can have a high self-confidence around what you do. More importantly, I want to see you have a high self-esteem and value who you are and have an amazing set of core values that are going to help you create a magnificent self-worth that's going to take you wherever you want to go in life. And again, I want to say thank you so much, Lisa, for the invitation for me to be a part of She Is Me.
Or you're going to pop into somebody's keynote because you pressed the wrong button. And, that's the way it goes. Thank you for not getting sidetracked when I just popped in here. I turned my camera off so you wouldn't be distracted. And then when I turned it back on, it shot me back into your talk. So my apologies.
Oh, it's no big deal. In fact, I'm going to put, in case anybody would really be willing to send, I'm on this mission for her to get all these cards. I'm putting her address in the chat.
Do it. We'll I'll put it up there. Thank you, everyone. I want everyone to know that we've obviously gotten our stream fixed, and the opening remarks and the wonderful letter by Jasmine Bibb will be replayed today at 3 p.m. And so we will have that. Oh, let's put this. Let me just put this in here. Banner. Here we go. Please send LisaAnne's 90-year-old mom a birthday card. This is community. This is what we do. We support each other and we hold each other up and we celebrate everything. And we're celebrating her 90 amazing years on this planet and what she has contributed by giving us LisaAnne Harmon. And I met LisaAnne 20 plus 25 years ago, maybe something like that. And we've stayed in touch since I left Mary Kay. We stayed in touch just here and there, saying hi and checking in, but reconnected again this year. And I'm so glad that we did.
I'm so grateful too.
So glad. So everyone, please send Polly Conley a birthday card. It's amazing. I'm going to do it during my break on during the next speaker. And we're going to get this. We're going to get her. She's going to be bombarded. It's going to be fantastic. Thank you, LisaAnne. We are streaming fixed. Everything's good. So please, thank you for being patient, everyone. If you missed the opening remarks and if you missed Jasmine Bibb's letter and her inspirational message and Ty Scott King's beautiful poem, we're going to be replaying that at 3 o'clock. So please join us. But it will also be posted as a recording so you can see everything that you missed. We will be back shortly with Janelle Marie Carter. So thanks, everyone. Stay tuned. Thank you, Lisa.
Bye-bye.
Bye.